Wednesday. How is everybody? Today we're going to talk about money. Money. There are three keys to financial freedom. And what are they? They are what's the first thing you got to do with money? You got to earn it, you got to get it. Getting money. The second thing, keeping it. The third thing is using it to earn more money, investing it. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the second thing, keeping money. How do you hang on to more of your money so that you have more to invest? Because if you keep letting it all get out the door, then you're not going to have anything to invest and create that nest egg, which is what gets us to financial freedom. What is one of our biggest expenses? Now, you can go to other people for budgeting advice. Those are all great things to learn how to do. Creating a budget. One of the biggest things you want to do, no matter what, and I will talk about this now, is pay yourself first, right? Which is why having money automatically taken out of any kind of account or checking account, having money that goes to a separate account each month, paying yourself first and putting that away into something where it is actually earning, okay? And I'm not talking about your savings account because your savings account will earn you basically nothing. And that's one of the things we talk about in Financial Ninjas. Where do you put that money, your rainy day money, that needs to be earning something while it's waiting for you to build it up into a larger amount that you can actually use to put into investments. But you definitely need, first thing, get that aside. Second thing, what is typically one of people's biggest expenses? Taxes. Once you start getting profitable, you start making a bit of money. One of the biggest things you're going to be paying out on is taxes. And how do we reduce that so you can take that money instead of giving it to the government, all of it to government, you still need to give some of it, and reinvest that for yourself. Because that chunk of money is really where you can really make a big difference. And so in Financial Ninjas, we talk about what are some of these strategies. These are legal strategies that you can use to reduce your taxes and make sure that more of that money can go towards your investments. And those investments are what is going to help you become financially free. So how do we do that? These are strategies. And I've talked about all different kinds, like what are the type of corporate structures that are better than others? You know, how you don't want to use a C Corp because you have double taxation, which means even more is going out in taxes. But some of the really killer superstructures are, one of the ones is what I talked about in my webinar for Financial Ninjas, which is a very specialized type of trust. Now, this is not a trust you can just go to any tax attorney and get, or to any trust attorney and get. Most of them do not know this type of trust exists. This trust was developed by a very specific law firm and group of accountants to be able to do what it does, because trusts are a contract. The interesting thing about contracts is that as long as they follow the 5 principles of contract, which is part of this diagram presentation, right? We have the right to contract. As long as you're not contracting for something illegal, we have the right to contract. And contracts and how we do business, they can be as smart and as creative as the person is who is making them. So really great attorneys are very creative people. They're not just sitting there running the same form, ticking the same box. A really great attorney is someone who finds solutions to a problem, and they are able to create a creative way to solve that problem. Okay, so that's what I do with my clients. They come to me and they say, well, we need this to do that or the other. Hey, Jota. Hey, Gabriel. Nice to see you. And I have to come up with a creative way to make that happen, and make that happen in a legal way, right? And I have to write the language. It's a very creative job when you're doing it right. So there were some creative attorneys who came up with a structure that follows the legal principles, but it allows you to get all of the benefits that most people will be looking for in this type of a structure, in this type of a trust, right? The tax benefits, the asset protection benefits, It allows you to combine them in this one vehicle, but it is not something that everybody knows or that everybody's going to have access to. And one thing I find working with other attorneys and CPAs all the time is that there's just way too much body of knowledge out there in all of those fields. And most people are not specialized at all in taxes. There's only a very small number in the US of attorneys who are particularly specialized in taxes. And the same is true of accountants. And even they are not going to know all of these types of things and structures because, they haven't been introduced to them. So this is why, like, finding something like this is, it's a very special thing, really. It's a very special thing if you meet somebody who can actually tell you, hey, this exists, because most people, most professionals, most advisors are not going to know that it exists. And that's just the truth. It's not like something that is, published in the, a legislative change that hopefully they are keeping up on by reading their legislative publications, right? This is not something like this. This is a specialized thing this particular group, law firm has created. And honestly, they're not very good at marketing. So I don't want to say anything about that. But so to have found them was already kind of an amazing feat. Okay. So I want you to understand that people who can do these types of things, often really smart people, they're not necessarily very good at marketing, right? I know I hate marketing, and you can see by my YouTube channel, which has very few views, that is the case, right? But I do love to find solutions to problems. That's what I'm really good at. That's where my kind of genius is. So, and to be able to explain those solutions to people in a way that they can understand them. So this is what I want you to understand about some of the structures that I talk about. They're not necessarily things that everybody knows, that all attorneys know. They are things that if they were to be introduced to them, they would go and research them, and then they could be like, okay, yeah, now I know, now I understand this, I understand why it works, but it's not something they're necessarily going to have access to. In fact, most of them absolutely won't. So just letting you know that some of the stuff I bring to you is very, very specialized and is, how would I put it? It is not widely known knowledge. Okay. That is why I am, that's why I do what I do. Okay. Because I'm able to get you this kind of information. So the information on the type of trust that I was talking about in that presentation is not widely known knowledge. And I gave a very detailed breakdown of why most trusts don't work they don't work optimally. They don't work to do, at least not the things that I or any sort of smart business person would want them to do. And they don't give the protection that we would want, as well as this particular type of trust does, the one I talked about in my webinar. Okay. So I think it's important. I don't think I stressed that enough in the webinar, but it's very important for people to understand that that is why I do this stuff, because I'm looking for stuff that just sort of the general people are not aware of, right? And even a lot of the professionals are not aware of. That's the stuff I look for, because I want to find out what works, and what works, not just kind of works, but what works all the way and gets me the full result that I want. So when I'm talking about saving on taxes, I am talking about being able to keep your capital gains, right? When you sell a highly appreciated asset, to be able to keep those capital gains under your control, to reinvest them and not have to pay them out in taxes. I'm talking about actually lowering your overall taxes that you pay on your business, right? Taxes that you pay in your daily life, understanding what are the strategies, the legal strategies put in place by Congress, by the Constitution, strategies the IRS has signed off on. These are nothing, there's no dodgy getting around stuff here. But there are ways that the wealthy and people with very smart advisors understand and know how to utilize these for their benefit, which is why they are not paying very much in taxes at all, frankly, right? Some of them have been able to completely get out of paying taxes because they understand how to use the strategies that Congress has created. And frankly, different congressional people and so on do the same. So you need to understand this is something you can understand how to do. This is something that you can get access to professionals and providers that can show you and teach you and help you set up these structures so that you can pack more away into your war chest, right? Into your money box that you can then invest and grow, right? And what you're really doing is you're deferring the taxes on these until a much, much later date. So you can use that growth to build a larger and larger and larger war chest, which we need. I mean, this economic issue is not over. Tons of people are being let go of their jobs. There is massive issues happening with logistics. And it is just, this is not even close to being over. So the more that you can keep in your pocket and reinvest during this time, the better, right? And you don't want to do it illegally by just not paying taxes, because then you're going to be hit with massive, really, really high fees and penalties, right? Even if you plan to pay your taxes and you're just a bit late getting the return in, which I was, and which my, the person I had hired was, you get hit with penalties and fees, right? So the key is to restructure yourself so that you're not in that boat. And that's the magic pill, right? That's the magic pill. And then afterwards, you can use that stuff to say, hey, what now? Now that we got the money, where do we put it, right? Now that I've got the money, where do I invest it? So please do really pay attention to this stuff that I talk about regarding saving on taxes. People don't think it's that sexy, but let me tell you, you can save 30,000, 40,000, 100,000, 500,000, a few million, depending on how much money your business generates and makes, or how much value you have in your assets. This is something that you can see a huge return on right away, right? This is not something like, off in the past, if we do this for like 10 years, it'll get a return. This can show like an immediate return right away. And there are two kind of superstructures that you can utilize. One is very good as a replacement retirement account. And it has so much of the benefit, it has all the benefits and none of the downsides of these qualified accounts like IRAs and 401ks. So one is something you can use as a replacement retirement account and as a source of income, right? As a source of money. And the other one is just a totally different way to structure your business and your money in such a way that it really shifts the game on capital gains tax and business tax. So make sure you jump into Financial Ninjas, ask me about it, send me a text, ask me about what these structures are, and I can share with you more information. Because this is the key. This is the key to your future going forward. And right now is the time. You want to start putting this in place before next year, because we're nearing the end, right? It's already October. It's already the last quarter. If you want to get some of the benefits this year on your taxes, you want to put it into place now. And then you'll already be set up for the new year, right? You can't back do your taxes, but you can fix something going forward. A lot of people, they're always scrambling at the end to try to say, well, what can I go back and do? I'm like, no, you need to be thinking forward, future, okay? Because if you're not setting it up right, you're going to be out of luck. You can't go back and change that stuff. So set it up right, set it up now, and let's make sure that you guys are set up for a abundant financial future. Not where you're constantly trying to play backup and catch up and are afraid and are always on the edge and running out of money because you haven't set these structures up correctly. So that is my talk on finances for today. I like to do a talk each week about finances, so this is the one for today. make sure you ask for the video that I just did that teaches you this whole structure about how to use trust for capital gains. If you're selling an asset, if you're selling a property, if you're investing in crypto, you absolutely want to have one of these. If you are in real estate, you absolutely want to have one of these, right? So, and then also if you have a business, if you have a profitable business that's making money, you definitely want to have something like this set up. All right, so reach out if those are what's going on in your life. And I will talk to you tomorrow.